Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the English news from Djibouti channels. Here are the top stories of our editions. The President of the Republic warming acts as a weapon of mass destructions on people, said during his speech in the forum held in Paris. On Continental News 7 there, including a Palestinian resistance commander and Israeli soldiers. Welcome if you join us on Djibouti channel. The President of the Republic, Mrs. Counterpart, the President of France, Mr. Emmanuel Macron. The two leaders discussed the relationship between the two countries and the way to straighten. The meeting was held during the forum. The Paris Peace Forum started on Sunday for 3 days. Some 60 heads of state, including 15 Africans, have come to inaugurate this first editions in the Great Hall of the Villette in the north of the capital. At the heart of discussions, multilateralism for a more peaceful world order, an idea tarnished by several African heads of state. Several African heads of state denounced Sunday multilateralism with a double standard. Although the continent is represented in all major international institutions such as the United Nations, African states have no voice even when they are the first to be concerned. A place on the Security Council, several African heads of state on Sunday urged the continent to obtain a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. The President of the chair, Idriss Déby, believes that the multilateralism began with the reform of the UN and a better representation of African countries in a decisions-making body. During his speech, the President, Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, stressed the importance to fight against the climate change. For more details, let's follow the speech of the President.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me first to thank the organizers of this global forum on peace. May I also greet the initiators of this rendezvous, first France, but also all the partners and donors who are actively campaigning for the advent of a global peace. Events such as this day are powerful vectors of awareness that must transcend all local issues in favor of one and the same concern, that of peace for all and everywhere on planet Earth. This concern is the only one that is worth it. It must be prioritized by the international community, because peace is the base of all economic and social development. This is the vital prerequisite for the fulfillment of men and women on every continent and each country. But today, and more than ever, this peace is threatened not only by war raging here and there, not only by geopolitical conflict inherited from the Cold War, but also and especially another weapon of mass destruction that is already operating in front of us, the degradation of our environment. Ladies and gentlemen, this war has already begun. It has already made victims not only among the fauna, but also among men and women on every continent. We must realize that this war is global and it does not recognize borders and endanger humanity. But we must also realize that this war we have unleashed ourselves is against ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, the responsibility of men in the current ecological disorder and the advancement of degradation of the environment is no longer to prove. All scientist studies have come to the same conclusion. On the scale of our planet, it is human activity that destroys ecosystem and biodiversity. What is implicated here is the global economic model. This model on which, however and paradoxically, we have based our developments, our economic growth and our prosperity. This model is out of breath today. It is a model that generates deforestation. It is a model that generates floods and droughts. It is a model that produces pollution, the extinction of species, the scarcity of resources. In summary, this predatory model has made the planet its prey. But if we do not change, if we do not have our current trajectory, we will go straight to the chaotic scenario of global warming predicted by scientists. And we all know the tragic consequences of this scenario. If we do not deviate from our current trajectory, these consequences will be irreversible. They will render our response capability sterile and ineffective. It is therefore urgent to change the paradigm of development. It is an urgent need to move to an alternative model, a viable model that focuses on ecological and environmental concern. But how to get out of this dominant, destructive model? The question deserves to be asked and debated. It has already been asked and debated, notably at the COP21 in Paris, where the international community together has committed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, the main cause of global warming. This issue was also debated in Marrakesh and probably in Poland in December. But alas, despite promises and commitment, the international community is slow to respond effectively. And already scientists are worried that goals set in Paris are no longer within our reach. Ladies and gentlemen, the preservation of the environment must be considered as a structuring paradigm of world peace. For a hostile environment can only be conducive to hostilities of all kinds. Global warming as a weapon of mass destruction on people. The international community must be in a shared responsibility approach to finding parades, because it is not time for procrastination to identify those responsible for and the victim of global warming. The urgency is to mobilize the necessary funding. The urgency is to share innovative technologies. The urgency is to pull our effort to win the war against global warming. The Republic of Djibouti subscribes to this approach and will always campaign for the emergence of an active solidarity concerning the planet Earth.
Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamad, and in accordance with Article 22, paragraph 1 and 2 of the Rule of Procedure, the second sessions of the second ordinary for the parliamentarians of the year 2018 of the 8th legislatures took place on Monday in the hemicycle. The sessions was attended by the Prime Minister, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, as well as members of the government and all parliamentarians. It has at its agenda the examinations of two bills admitted, namely with regard to the first project, the need to reorganize the Ministry of National Education systems from the recommendations of the symposium of the improvement of the quality of the ended 23 inspectors have been recruited to the Ministry of National Education and Vocational Training to further strengthen the body monitoring and supervisions of teachers and school, said the ministers. Regarding the second bill, the project's objectives is to improve economic opportunities for targeted entrepreneurs. It consisted in simulating the creations of new and efficient company, and especially in improving in the short or medium term the employability of young people and women who will be able to impact to the creation of micro and macroeconomic. Under the chairmanship of Excellency Mr. Mohammed Ali Hamad, during this paragraph, the ministers of the Prime Ministers welcomed the mayors of the Islamic country. During this welcomed many mayors participated at this acting Prime Minister and Head of Government, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, received in his office, led by Mr. Omar Abdullahi Qadi, Secretary General of the Organization of Capital and Islamic City, introduced by the Mayor of the City of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatuma Awal Usman. The delegation was composed of the Mayor of City of Islam Country, Sheikh Anzir Aziz, and Mr. Khalid Mohammed Abdullah, the mayor of Amman, the capital of Jordan. The meeting took place in the honor hall of the perimeter in the presence of the Minister of Interior, Mr. Hassan Omar, the Ambassador of Djibouti to the Kingdom of Saudi, Mr. Diadine Bamkhrama, and the Council Prime Minister, Mr. Ali Silai. The Prime Minister's and acting head of government, Mr. Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, and his illustrious guest had the opportunity to know each other and to exchange at the launching ceremony yesterday of the launching 32 sessions of administration, the Council of the United Nations Organization, Capital and Islamic Cities, chaired by the Prime Minister at Campiski Palace. A promise was then made to meet again the next day for a courtesy visit to the perimeter. The General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, Chief of General Staff of the Army Forces, received in his office at the General Staff of the Army the new mayor of the city of Mogadishu, Mr. Abdurrahman Abdi Usman. The mayor of the city of Mogadishu, Mr. Abdurrahman Abdi Usman, was leading a delegation composed of his deputy mayor, the new ambassador of Somalia, newly accredited to Djibouti, Dr. Muhammad Ali Noor Haji, and his chief of staff. The mayor of the city of Mogadishu, Mr. Abdurrahman Abdi Usman, is staying in Djibouti to participate in the work of the 32nd summit of the board, the director of organization Capital and Islamic City, which will take place from 11 to 12 in this November in Campiski. The ceremony, chaired by Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, was attended yesterday by more than 20 mayors of Islamic capital city. A delegation of most important persons attending the second sessions of Administrative Council of the Organization of Islamic City and Capital went yesterday afternoon to the Dobali multi-purpose board. The delegation was accompanied by the mayor of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatuma Awali Osman, and her close associates and others officials. The delegation included the Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic City and Capitals, Dr. Omar Abdullah Qadi, and many chiefs and mayors of Islamic City. During the visit, the delegation was informed of the absorption capacity of this vital facility for the national economy. It should be noted that the President of the Republic, Mr. Ismail Omar, officially inaugurated the Dorwali multi-purpose on May 2017. This initiative is part of effort to make our country an economic hub for businesses, commerce, trade and finance. In honor of the officials delegation participating in the 32nd session of Council Administration, the Mayor of Djibouti, Mrs. Fatuma Awale Osman, organized a gala ceremony last night at the Sheraton Hotel in Djibouti. The Ambassador of Djibouti to Saudi Arabia, Mr. Diadine Bamkhrama, and Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Capital and City, Dr. Omar Abdullah Qadi, as well as dozens of mayors from Islamic City, attended the ceremony, animated by national folk groups and songs, especially in Arabic, Somali and Afar languages. It should be noted that these delegations are participating in the 32nd sessions of Government Council and the Organization of Islamic City and Capitals. A graduation ceremony at the last promotion of judicial police officer was held this morning in the Ahmadu Captain's Barracks. The ceremony was co-chaired by Colonel Zakaria Hassan Adan, Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, and Artonier General Jama Suleiman Ali. Several civil and military authorities participated in this ceremony, including Lieutenant General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim, the Chief of Staff of the Army Forces National, as well as the National Security Director, Mr. Hassan Saeed Khaira, and the State Artillery, Mr. Eid Ahmed Ibrahim. This training of judicial police officer lasted 2 years, from 2060 to 2080, and was culminated in a final examination of which only 8 trainers were able to obtain their diploma and they're assigned to OBG from the hand of the Colonel Zakaria Hassan Adan and the official president. So the 8 trainers raised to the higher rank. This ceremony was also an opportunity to congratulate the leaders Yusuf Buha Ali, Brigade Commander North Djibouti, who showed an act of bravery and courage in the day of October 10 around 8 a.m. by diving substantially into the sea to were rescue to a young woman trapped in her vehicle that has rocketed into the sea, avoiding a truck. This vehicle was found 3 meters underwater, and this policeman, showing a sense of duty and professionalism, has plunged without delay to extract the girl from her vehicle, saving her life from a drowning assault. This non-commissioned officer was awarded the Medal of Valor with the Silver Star and advancement to the higher rank, which was awarded to him by National Security Directors Hassan Said Khairi and congratulated by the Court General Zakaria Army and the Chief of Staff. Colonel Zakaria Hassan Adan, Chief of the National Army, during his speech congratulated the 8 new OBG and instructed to be serious and professional. So he congratulated Chief Yusuf Buha Ali for his act of bravery and courage. And now let's move on continental news. 7 dead, including a Palestinian resistance commander and Israeli soldier. For more details, let's follow this report.
7 Palestinians were killed in Sutem, Gaza Strip on Sunday after heavy fire was exchanged along the Israel-Gaza border, according to Palestinian sources, including a commander in Hamas military wing. Hamas claimed that 4 of the casualties were part of its organization. The Israeli military later confirmed that one ADF officer was killed and another was moderately wounded during an operation.
We'll finish our edition soon. I thank you for watching us. Goodbye.